Audio is up. All right, sounds good. Hey, Thor, how's it going?
Good, good, good. Got a kid I'm watching today, but I just got rid of her for about 25 minutes, so I'm good
Excellent.
to go.
Beautiful.
Um, who else is on with us right now?
We've got Eva, Panda, and Nando.
Nando. How you doing, Nando?
I'm doing good, Thor. How's everything in Mexico? How you doing?
Well, I tell you what, it's about 120% humidity and 95 degrees. The real feel is about 115. It is smoking hot here right now.
That's when you just go get in the ocean, really, right? Because then it's less humidity than out in the air.
Well, briefly.
That's funny.
But, hey, the first one we're looking at, since we're kind of behind here,
Yeah.
is SoFi, which is, that's one of my old favorites I've been adding forever. I think I started in at it and it really added hard at around 5. It's sitting right now at 944. And I made a mistake. I was going to buy more the other day. And I don't know how the hell I did it. Again, it could have been the fault of a, well, 4-year old almost, but that could have been what happened. I'm not sure. But I ended up selling a lot of it and I'm really sorry about that, but it is what it is. I still have a bunch. That being said, I think, um, the next stop on it right now is probably between 990 and 10 is when it's going to slow down a bit. But I think now's liftoff on SoFi. If you can get in on pullbacks,
I'll tell you what, that
long
wick
term, this one's a buy.
down to 446 had me scared because I remember you talking about it and I was like, hmm. But looking at it on the monthly, that was definitely our volume point of control is sitting at $5.90. So solid, solid. You have a cluster of volume up to 995. So it actually runs, and I think of this as a plateau. If you've watched my New Traders Bootcamp, the first one I filmed last June, it would be a plateau of this volume in between here. So like 923 to 995. And then above, if we can break through that kind of just below $10 range, I'm looking at a target pretty easily of 1260 to $13. So let me,
Did this stock like IPO? When did this stock like was able to for you to trade? Because I see back in December 20, we kind of are like reaching that point. I think it's around like $10. I would consider like a break of nine. I'm not sure what the low is exactly, but like 9.8, 9.9. That would be a complete market structure shift for this stock in particular. I'm not sure what exactly happened in November 20 or in December. I don't know if this IPO'd or whatsoever, but this looked very good for upside. I'm
yeah,
not
this
gonna lie, and
this
I'm
was an
glad that
IPO
there was
Yeah,
like,
I think
at the
this,
end of 20.
yeah, this one was a SPAC, if I remember right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but I was a big believer from the beginning, and I was pounding the desk on it forever, probably for the last 2 years or however long it's been. And every chance there was a chance to maybe get out and wait, come back and buy more, that's what I did. And I don't know how many times I called it like that, but um, it was definitely, I've been a believer from the beginning, and I was just trading in and out of it. But now I have a feeling you might get a chance again, maybe again on a pullback to $8, but that'll probably be the last time you're able to get in uh, on a cheap spot on on SoFi. I think it's probably going to be a $20-25 stock in a year or two.
I
Probably two
marked
years.
I marked 788 as my number. I somehow have two lines there, but I just marked it on the monthly and the 780, no, 90 89, 789 as that one that dip back. There's one
Yeah,
more.
exactly. I have it at 787, which is your number, and then I also have it right around $8. So between your
Cool.
number and $8 is the place that you might possibly get a chance to get back in, but I doubt it's going to happen.
Yeah, Sophie was a SPAC that you were mentioning. That's how they went into the market, and they have a lot of different banking resources. Ironically, it's also the bank I use, and it just gets better and better every other day.
Awesome.
Uh, Tons of resources. You can invest through it. Their interest rates are extremely high. They also have an agreement with several different banks where the FDIC insurance that they cover is up to $1 million between the grouping of banks that they have instead of 250K.
Wow.
I actually do use Sophie banking as well, so far, yes. And it is great, I'm not gonna lie.
All right, we need to travel on. Oh, by the way, if you guys don't know, that's Eternal King, the other voice that you're hearing, number 5. But we are kind of on a tight time frame, so we're going to move on to OSTK.
OSTK, that actually was, they're in the same kind of business that I was in several years ago. I was in a closeout business, and that's exactly what kind of business they're in.
And you're not doing that anymore?
I think no, I've started probably 4 different businesses, starting with a tool company, import tool company, and then on to closeouts, and then on to a retail store, and then into cell phones. And 3 of the 4 were successful. The second closeout business was not. So 3 out of 4 is not bad.
Oh, it's beautiful. Well, let's see. I'm looking at, well, I don't like the chart, to be honest. I mean, it moves a lot, but I don't think I've looked at this chart really probably since like 2020 when it ramped from like $10 to something like 60. And I was like, out, never looking at that chart again, I think was the last statement I made. We do have a volume point of control sitting at 1798, which is just below where we are right now. So looking at the monthly, huge amount of volume here that we've traded really from like 2006 just all the way around until 2017, 18, and then dipped underneath that. So that's kind of interesting. I'm liking the way we're holding right here on the monthly at least.
If you go out to a weekly, you'll see that it's made lower lows, which scares me. I'd rather wait for the weekly to make a higher low, but it's a stock that I would look at, keep an eye on, because it does have potential. But just glancing at it overall, I don't like it. But also glancing at it overall, I want to watch it, because there is a chance somewhere along the line that it actually makes a turnaround, and I think it's probably going to be pretty decent. It's just you got to wait. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to go out of business. It's just
Right. I'm gonna
it just doesn't look good to me yet.
marking some levels on monthly right now that are just areas of interest as far as volume goes over the last like 6 years. Which a lot of times that's a little bit too far out, but on this one, maybe not. So let's see. Now weekly, I'm probably only going to take into account since 2020. Yeah.
It did make a higher low just the other day. So on the daily.
I still like it more than I thought I was going to on weekly. It was still above our volume point of control. And I would be targeting something like 25, range would be 25.52 to 26.43. Just there's a little cluster of volume above here. And we are sitting on the highest volume node that exists for it right now. Found buyers in an uptrend. So I'm going to back just a little bit so I can get this picture out. And I'm not marking any more levels on the week.
Yes.
Go ahead.
There's also
Yeah,
a
as soon as you
bullish
said
power
something about the
sector.
weekly, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, my first look on monthly, I was like, but I'm not completely opposed to watching it. And I will agree with you on that term. This is not something where I'm like, I have to buy it right now, because I want to see really kind of how we're in summer, the summer doldrums. We could just do this sideways in this like $4 or $5 range. Well, if you look at its history for like 2 years, there is that possibility. So when you see a chart like this, you want to take into account that you buy like long dated options if there's decent volume on them and the spread's not too big, or it's something you buy 1% out of your full size portfolio and you just put it away and forget it for like 5 years, and then like keep alerts on some of the levels, because they can be really slow to develop. And as you look at the chart, they can also be really fast, but it's not just in COVID that it was really fast. So kind of interesting to me.
Usually when you see a chart like this, and I'm looking at the weekly right now,
Yeah, that's right.
the way that it's just, there's no really commitment to get into this. And what I
Yeah.
mean by that, there's nobody, none of the big boys are really looking at getting in. That's why retail isn't big enough to try to move a stock up. You need the big guys to come in and do something to get a stock moving. And you can see on the weekly that none of the big guys are committing to it. The only big guys that are in it, they've already been in it and they're just waiting for it. If, as far as whoever, I don't see who actually asked about this. If you're looking for a spot to get in, I would actually start looking at it if it got above 2250 and held. And then I'd start really looking at, looking for volume to start coming in and looking for that price to hold and kind of look for higher highs and make sure it doesn't have lower lows. That would be my comment on it.
And I am posting my weekly charts inside the Tuesday Lunch and Learn thread off of Market Talk. If you guys can't see the share, because I am at full capacity at 50, but the actual, like, once we finish that analysis, all my levels are marked in there. Purple is on monthly, blue is on weekly, and anything that is white is daily or less. So for this particular venue, it's daily for white. And then, as I
If
said before,
Ava or Nando wanted to make a quick comment on it, it'd be great. We can move on to the next one.
What stock are we talking? Is it OSTK?
yeah,
OSTK.
So on the weekly, is a chart. Well, when it comes to stocks like this, where it is $20. So when it comes to, like, Neo, Rivian, I do like look at the weekly and stuff. So this is one of those that I do put in that category. I don't really like going on lower time frames because you need to see the bigger picture for these. But looking at the weekly, it does seem like we have made a nice bottom around 15, 17 area here. I consider this like a double, triple bottom. And like there is a lot of potential for this stock, I would say, for the future. You just never know when you're gonna get that pop in this type of stock. So overall, myself, I would not touch this right now. Maybe if we could get above that same level that Thor mentioned, I think it was like 24, 25, I would consider taking a trade on this. But overall, these are one of the stocks that I try to stay away. Unless I am like investing long term. I don't think it's a bad idea to invest in this. And also you can place your stop loss very tight here.
well, and that
And
actually
I
corresponds with the weekly 50 moving average. So I am really 2284 is that level for the long term. Yep.
Really like it. Like, it's setting up, there's a lot of compression, consolidation, and usually when it's like this, you have to think of it like a spring. The more it's compressed, the more energy it's saving up to explode either to the upside or downside. And the only thing similar to what everyone else said, it's not ready yet. So one of the main things that I would like to see in something like this was watch flow. When you see unusual flow starting to accumulate and you see these type of patterns on weekly and monthly, it will take time to set up. But once you start to see flow, you're going to get an indication of like where it might fire to. So it's setting up, but it's not to the point where it's ready to move, because I just checked flow and there's almost non-existent
Almost
for
nothing.
OSTK. So you just gotta wait until you see the flow, and if you see a chart like that, you can start looking at it in the term of getting it as like a elongated call or put, or just picking up the stock.
That's Ava, that's exactly what I was saying. I said it a little bit differently. I was talking about right now retail is the only thing really trading it, so it's staying down. And when you talk about flow, I'm talking about volume, and I'm talking about the big boys starting to buy in, and that's exactly what she said, and it's exactly what I meant.
Completely agree. Usually we make the money following the big boys, so wait for flow, and that should give you the direction.
Exactly.
Then if you look, there's
All
a
right,
huge
so what do we have? The next one?
PATH, P-A-T-H. And I was going to say with overstock, there's one huge volume spike on one day. And that's short covering. That is not buying if you look at the reflective candle, if you're looking on the weekly. And I have that posted in the Market Talk so we can move on, or Market Talk Tuesday Lunch and Learn, so we can move on. PATH is the next one. I have some weekly levels marked. Our volume point
I
of
don't like it at all.
our volume point of control is sitting at hold on, I gotta get this. It's pretty ugly down here. Sitting like 16, I guess I'm off just a little bit. 1650. But it just looks like short covering. And there is a ton of volume. We've spent a ton of volume, but we've been down here for a year. And we could just keep grinding sideways. I've seen a lot of charts where you do just keep grinding sideways forever and ever. and then next leg down. So just because it's, sitting just above all-time lows, there's a lot of work to be done to get above here, but then there's almost no volume above. So I don't know if you were looking for something. What
Some of that,
what does Path do? Do you know?
some of that volume could be, is Kathy Woods is buying a lot of this one. And if you see a big spike, one day, all you gotta do is wait until the end of the day and see how much she bought, because she loves this one. And, she's gonna be right one day on everything, almost everything she buys. I know she takes a lot of heat. But I really think,
Well, when growth is
she's
big,
gonna
she
be
does
right.
great, but it's when growth is big.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Let me draw
But overall, I don't like this one.
a couple little. We do have technically a breakout. I think we did this one a little while ago, and once you said Kathy Wood, I was like, I'm out. I'm not, right now. We're not in growth. We do have a breakout from, and I guess I didn't save the charts. Probably I might not have been posting charts by that point, but I remember seeing August 8th. So our little pop, August 8th, 2022, and January 30th, 2023, and seeing that once we made it over that on the weekly, kind of at that 1599, let's call it 16 level, we are working on gaining acceptance here coming into FOMC on the weekly. So I mean, I really would be looking for a successful back test to that downtrend line, not coming underneath what would be on the weekly 1571, which happens to be the 20 moving average, the 10 moving average, and that downtrend, but there's not a lot of volume down here. So if we sell hard back into the 1457 range, this would be a do not touch it. Just move on. There's other better tickers to look at would be my general recommendation. And apparently I have to save each of these charts so it actually stays in my trading view.
But if you ask Kathy Wood, she'll tell you to buy all you can right now.
Well, yeah, because she wants help. All right, Adobe's our next one, ADBE.
Back in the day, Adobe was the one that would made you bank just
So
like
much money.
Tesla
Yeah, so much
and
money.
Apple and some of the ones today. This one was the one that really made you money back 20 years ago.
Yeah, I'm just going to go
This
back
thing
to
really
like,
moved.
well, relatively when you look at it for what it does right now. But back, I traded Adobe in like 2005 or 6, and then not again for a long time. I don't think I traded it till like 2015 again. Let me see here.
Actually recently moved on
Yeah.
news due to AI.
That's interesting.
I believe it was like last week because I played Adobe last because of that, and man, it moved last week close to I think what 500.
So the news with Adobe and AI is actually, because I've been trading a lot of AI in the past 3 weeks, they have implemented a lot of new tools that allow it to basically create, let's call them fantasy,
Awesome.
that they were not able to do before. Now they can complete images, modifying images, and just creating new stuff is a lot simpler and a lot faster now. So things that could take you hours to do can now take you minutes or even less, just with the new tools that they've implemented. So really cool stuff that they're doing. It directly correlates with AI. So as the AI market share continues to increase and continues to gain traction, Adobe's also benefiting from it at the same time.
All right, let's
Adobe to me, right now, I wouldn't play it because you'd be chasing it. And I think I've preached this 1,000 times. Don't chase. It looks like it could, if it could pull back around 450 and you can get it there, I would play a bounce somewhere around 450, but I wouldn't hold to that. I'd wait until it gets down near that area and start looking, at the chart again. But I certainly wouldn't chase it right now.
There's actually not a lot of volume. If we break below the 460, let's call it 462. I don't know. There's, yeah, 464.29. There's a fairly low volume below here that we could run pretty quickly to like 438. And if we don't bounce there, then we have a hard run to 404. So this is one of those you set some alerts on and you're looking for a back test, I would love a back test of 405 as far as a longer dated, maybe 6 months out kind of swing that you hold for a month or two because of the AI news, but there should be
Yeah,
some
it's
profit
possible
taking
to
here.
get down there.
Yeah, I'd be all over it with that cluster down
You
there.
know, when you mentioned volume, I wanted to bring something up. Last week we talked about, or I mentioned it, QS.
Yeah.
And you know, QS is beat to hell right now. There's a lot of people downgrading it. And I think on last week's Lunch and Learn, I said that, you know, to pretty much everybody, I don't even know if it's one that we covered, but I said, watch QS. It has
Oh, it is. I took
sneaky volume coming in.
comments. No, I took commons last week off of that.
meant-
Maybe the next day. I'm up 18% on commons.
Right. I said that there's sneaky volume starting to come into QS, and sneaky volume means that it catches you by surprise. You don't see it, and all of a sudden there's volume out of nowhere. Well, look at it today.
Right. And
That's exactly
the sneaky
what you
volume
look for.
is the size traders or funds, as the case may be, depending on who's trading it, who's building a position. They're trying not to pick up interest. You have to be looking for that type of buying. And so QS is definitely a good one to go in and see, like, what did that look like as they were building that position? And there was definitely profit taking. There was one rough day in there where my July contracts, I think I've got 8 contracts. Yeah, July 8 calls down like 50%. And I was like, it's fine. They're dated in July, not worried about it. Commons they're still up 5%, and it's down 11% today. After that one big dip, it's climbing back out. So I'll be in that trade for another, I'm going to guess probably 2 weeks, maybe 3. One of the reasons why we look
Yeah,
at
the
some of those
QS,
longer
that's
dated. Go ahead.
Well, that's a stock that what you're looking for on a stock like that. They absolutely have no earnings, burning through cash like you can't believe. There's nothing. There's no revenue, nothing. But when you see sneaky volume starting to come in on a stock like that, it means that somebody knows something. Somebody knows there's going to be a new, the latest. Maybe the testing from Volkswagen is going to come back and it's favorable. You know, it could be even somebody inside Volkswagen that's making that buy because they know
Yep.
the test that they're running is going to come in favorable, and that's what you look for on stocks like that.
That reminds me of the Rivian play. Despite the stock being stagnant or down, the premiums, like the flow hitting that 17.5, like this is the ones that you really want to see if you see stocks just like this on QS. The flow would tell you. So just like what Thor said, you know, it could be a good one to just keep a look at to see if there's any more like traction on the flow point to get in.
Exactly. Hey guys, I have to get off now, but you know.
Yeah,
I
if you
don't know
guys
how long
if you guys want to
can
keep
stay,
going,
maybe.
I have 16 more minutes that I can do charts, and I think we've got a bunch more charts. And just as a reminder, if you're listening to this, I'm just going from the top up from the last chart that I posted last week. So if you have chart requests, and I know a week later is, you know, not necessarily for day trading, but if you want chart review for what we're doing, posting them not right now, because the stuff that's being posted right now is probably where I'm going to try to get through it. Like we'll go a little turbo fast through, but the more you can post it, you know, coming into like Monday and Tuesday morning before we start this, better off we are to be able to get to it. So next one I'm on is Plug. And Thor,
All right, guys.
thanks for coming to hang out
Thanks.
with us. I appreciate you.
Yep, and we'll do it again next week.
And I'm
Thanks
hoping
for,
I'm
for
hoping
saying
pretty
that.
soon here we can maybe try to
The-
do this at 45 minutes. Maybe possibly coming into July. We'll have to see what my schedule looks like and maybe look at yours too.
All right. See you.
Okay, see you later. All right, I'm dropping some lines in on Plug. My personal opinion, and this is not based on charts. This is before I even open the charts. I actually owned Plug from like $1.75 and sold it somewhere near $45 or $46. And it's a complete, the nicest word I can use is sham of a company. It is not, even though it's labeled as a solar company, it is not a solar company. And if you have questions about that, dig into what the product itself is. So my husband's an electrical contractor, big into, like, he built us a windmill when we first got married. I was 19 when we got married, built us a windmill out in our first house, like out where the wind blows a bunch. and has done a bunch of stuff with magnetics and alternative energy and that kind of thing. So dig into what some of the technology is behind what Plug is doing, and you might understand more what I'm talking about, but it's definitely not something that I would hold in my long-term portfolio for sure, other than trading it up, because I saw that as a momentum trade coming out of what could have been like terrible times in 2020. So our volume point of control on Plug is actually sitting super low at $4.12 back from the beginning of 2020. So we actually had a pretty good consolidation period, November 11th, 2019, really until the crash. And then as we started to climb out of that crash, it became one of the meme stocks and really spiked up. I mean, I think it's high, what was it, high $75, because it got squeezed, just like something like AMC or GME, that kind of thing. So looking at it from a trading perspective, we do have a very high volume node sitting at 884 that we have captured and bounced off of this week. Just above there, we've got something at 1149 and then 1299. I am not a participant here at all. So I'm curious to see what Eva and Nando think about it, because this is not for me.
You know, I actually have it on a weekly. It kind of looks like a falling wedge to me, with like a key breakout at 1149. Let me post my chart really quick.
You know, from all-time highs
It's
it
just-
does, but if it's not from all-time highs, and I'm careful with the stuff from all-time highs, because damn it, COVID, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That stuff, I almost, when I'm looking at the weekly, when I'm looking at something that is more of that growth or meme, I kind of just ignore that top spike. So my weekly is from November 22nd, 2021 to August 22nd, 2022. That that really for me is very, very important. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but 2020 is such a problem for analysis.
Yeah, I remember when I used to trade this. I'm definitely not touching it anymore, but I did share the fallen wedge that Ava is talking about in the channel for this event. But yeah, this is something that I was actively trading back in 2020, and you can tell why, right? Eventually, once it started dying down, it was all the hype from Twitter, and that is just not there anymore. You really don't know how lower this can really go. Maybe in terms of flow, this might give you a direction, but as of now, I would not touch this at all.
Yep, agreed. All right, let's find our next one.
Sweet. I only could do one more, then I gotta take a
Okay.
patient call. So
I appreciate you being here at least for a little bit. All right, now next one is snow, which I have not looked at this chart in a long time.
I freaking love snow, but that 185 resistant, it's like Gandalf. It's like
You shall not pass for sure.
It's like, yeah, we so far see like a good double top on the daily. The weekly, you see that it's clearly
Yeah,
a big resistance.
this is a hard pass for me. Like so I just go back to the wick down for May 10th, 2021, and until that's what Eva's referring to, is that wick, until we can get over that. So I would just set alerts right there and literally not look at this chart again. And I actually haven't looked. When was the last time I looked at this chart? It would have to be at like 320 something, like fall of 2021, and I literally just deleted it from my watch list from everything, because I was like, I don't even know what's happening with that thing. But yeah, I'm only going to mark one level. That's it. That's all I'm going to put, and you should put that on your charts if you're going to trade it. Ugh.
Yeah, I just posted my chart, so it's right there if anyone needs a visual. But yeah, easiest way, just that 85 level, just wait for it, just like what Cedar says. And once you see the volume break, that thing will go to 200. So those that know how to trade snow, once it hits a certain level, it just moves. Just like how it's almost a similar, the way that Netflix moves. It likes to hit your stop loss and then rock it. So waiting for the right level with the volume, especially if you see flow, you could probably catch it. It's just spreads kind of ass. Like spreads are bad, but if you get like a nice spread, hold it, you can easily get hit 30-50% within like 15 minutes. That's how snow likes to move. And I will be also waiting for 85 level, 185. So
Awesome.
I'm ready for snow. All right. So I got to peace out.
All right, see you later.
You know, so happy to talk to you guys on voice. If
Yeah.
anything, feel free to DM me or tag me and I'll try to help. Okay.
Awesome. See you later.
Have a
Eva.
good one, guys.
See you.
Bye.
All right, next one is actually a futures. It's the corn futures, which is ZCU 2023. I have not looked at corn in a while. Traded it a bunch. So this is, I'm actually gonna change it out to the front month. I don't like the individual expirations just because when we start marking levels, so I'm gonna go ZC1 exclamation point. So this is the front month contract, and we've talked a lot about rollover and what's happening with rollover, and it happens quarterly with things like the ES contracts, but it can happen more frequently, less frequently with different things. So I always do all of my charting on the front month contract, all of it. So I'm just going to draw some general trend lines that kind of like catch my eye. Not even trend lines. These are, yeah, the trend lines. So let me draw some volume in here. So area of interest as far as volume goes, 549, 589, 635, 654, 677. So
What stock are we talking about?
this is corn futures. So there's a huge low volume area it's ZC1 exclamation point is the front month. So space between 551.4 and 424. There's a huge low volume area. The thing to take into context here is there has definitely been in the news a bunch of talk about different animal products, kind of production plants blowing up and the processing plants having issues, and the fact that we're slowing down from the US perspective on what we're providing other countries. So if we didn't have that news, I would be expecting this low volume area underneath 549 to fill. However, probably not, just based on the where we are in the world. And so I'm gonna leave it at that, just because there's not a bunch of people trading corn futures, but I'm gonna put the chart out, and I think we're gonna start seeing a little bit more as far as different commodities and different things happening in the futures channel. Hopefully it grows and grows, because that's when I brought it back like September. Was it September of 2022? Everyone was like, oh, you're trading futures? I was like, well, yeah, because the moves are happening overnight, and commodities are very, very different. So you have to be really careful when you're trading them. And I'll just leave it at the fact that you could accidentally have to take an entire delivery of this whole, like ES is not a deliverable. You could accidentally have to buy whatever that deliverable is of corn or cows or lean hogs or coffee or orange juice. And I'm not sure we're going to store that, but it could happen in futures. So make sure you listen to the intro to futures that talks a little bit more along those. I will post the chart for you and then move on to the next one.
So wait, so looking at this one, if you look at where we bounced previously here, was it the month of June or May, right? It is in a perfect double bottom from last year's price, but I would say, if you look deeper into price, we did fill this gap. It might be like we are rejecting currently. We could just fill this gap and make our way back down, but if this can
I have this as a lower low off the bounce that we have on the weekly, and a lower high. So for me, it's danger zone right here. I mean, aside from the economic state of the world, right? It's just a danger area. If you
It
want to,
doesn't look too bad for me, but I've never touched this before.
so one of the things I would say is a chart is a chart is a chart, except once you start messing with commodities, there are some different nuances in them. So if you're starting to trade futures and you're like, dang, I have options to do all the, options, it's a hard term to use. I have the opportunity to trade different things. Make sure you familiarize yourself with them, because while a chart is a chart, there can be some things that, like, like a sudden freeze in Florida for orange juice can affect all kinds of things like orange juice futures that, if you're not familiar with, can really, really wreck you. It's a kind of a scary place. Oh, Oxy is the next one. And Nando, if you have a chart for that, definitely post it following mine up.
For Oxy or the previous one?
Oh, yeah, no, for the corn futures. I have not looked at, oh, we did Oxy. When did we do it? We might have done it like 2 weeks ago. It's nice to see previous. There's literally nothing I can add to this, so I'm going to post a copy of the previous chart just so it's there. But we're still traveling in a channel that I'm not in love with. Packer Fan West put QS in here. I'm going to go ahead and do it really quickly, but there's a bunch of charting in this channel already. So I'm just going to peek at it really quickly because I haven't looked at it lately. Waiting for the symmetrical triangle breakout. That way there's a new chart in relation to what I already have, but I'm not adding anything to it because these were existing levels already created. And this is what I was telling Thor that I took commons on. So let me look at my position. I think it's up 15% from last week. Nope, 20.93%. And the July $8 calls are now up 13%.
I just shared the chart for the corn futures. I actually see a descending triangle here, so I would lean
Ugly.
more to what you were saying. I don't really like this stuff. But
Okay, if there's anything else that I missed, because I'm just scrolling through, I've got like 2 more minutes left. So if I missed it, if you've got it posted, going back up, and I missed doing it or we missed doing it as a team, can you please just repost it and I will grab it really quickly. That way we can catch it and be updated for this week. And honestly, anything posted after this last chart, the QS weekly update, will be first next week. And, I always try to do charting stuff like this if you tag me, but it's much harder to do a dedicated charting session like this where we can really go into it. And the goal of these is to have you see more of what we're looking at on that higher time frame perspective, from a team perspective, from an individual perspective, and what we're thinking about, instead of just, oh, can I take a weekly contract on this? So this is a completely different concept for the most part from what, the shorter dated options are, but we wanted to provide it as something where we can actually educate and talk about, what we're looking at in charts. So hoping that helps you guys. All right, I don't see anything else, so I'm going to go ahead and save this. I will post the link inside the thread for the Tuesday Lunch and Learn underneath Market Talk. And if you ever cannot find it, you can just search hashtag Tuesday, TUES, and it'll pull it up, because what happens is there's not a lot of posts that happen through the week. So if you have your channels minimized, you can't see it because there's not new posts. So if you're ever wondering, where did my alert channel go? Where did, so-and-so, like, oh, I can't see this anymore. It's probably you have the little triangle that's next to the category the wrong direction. so it's just no new posts, so you can't see what happened in there. So definitely something to think about as far as, using Discord. And I know a lot of people in here have never used Discord before coming into the group. And I started using it in 2020 and thought, this thing is not very user friendly. And it's definitely gotten better through the years, but there's some nuances in there. So if you have any questions, definitely reach out, either create a ticket or send a DM to one of the mods. I'm usually available unless I'm in an active trade. You can DM me pretty much anytime. If I'm in a training session or in a stock coaching session, I won't answer, obviously. But if you have questions, we'll get to you, I promise. And even in market talk, and just tag at mod or at analyst, and then somebody will see it and many of us will get back. So I appreciate hanging out with you guys and taking the time. And I'm actually glad Nando hung out a little bit longer, so I wasn't here by myself talking, which sometimes happens after Thor has to jet out. Like I said, we are trying to change our schedules just a little bit to be able to do 45 minutes on these ongoing, hopefully in the next couple weeks, and we'll go from there. Nando, you should come hang out on Voice with me more.
Yeah, I'll try to be here. I know I always say that, but I'll try.
I'll just start DMing you. Hey, what's up?
Sounds good, Peter. It was nice
Okay.
talking.
Talk to you later.